Good evening, everyone. I hope that you've had a wonderful Wednesday, a wonderful day on this Wednesday. Phew, I'm tired. I've walked over 11,000 steps. Today was the first day that our students were back on campus, which was fantastic. So I got lots of hugs and loves and Happy New Year's and I missed you and all of that wonderful stuff. But man, it's been a while since I had to stand up for a whole hour from 7 to 8 for morning duty. And then I did several lunch sections, mine and another one. And then, of course, at the end of the day, dismissal and bus duty. So my body is tired. And to be honest with you, my knee hurts. And my son always tells me, when you're hurting, don't work out. So I'm not going to work out. But I said to myself, and, the sun is almost going down. I was the admin on duty at the end of the day, make sure everybody got home safely. So I was home a little later than I wanted to. So I don't have quite as much sun. But in the email today, I believe, I included a chart about how to increase serotonin. And serotonin is known as the happy hormone. And one of the things that we can do to increase serotonin is to get out in the sun and soak up some vitamin D. Another is vitamin B. I might start taking that again. I took it years ago. Eating green leafy vegetables, eggs, lean meat. So I'm definitely going to start making my green smoothies again and really paying attention to my diet, because I will say that I haven't done a good job of eating well and eating mindfully. For a long time, I ate mindfully. You might call it eating clean, but I was really intentional about the things that I ate, the things that I put in combination. I'm really mindful of how certain foods impact me. So I know that I need to do that. To increase your serotonin, it says to, self-care, engage in things that make you happy. So I'm thinking about, I'm going to buy a small card table and I'm going to start putting a puzzle together, because I used to do that and I've enjoyed that. So I'm going to do that. And I started a project today. And I'm really excited about it, and it's going to be fantastic. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for Dr. El-Amin, the published author. So I'm really, really excited about that. So I'm doing the things that it takes to make myself feel better. I listened to gospel music on the way to work today. I knew exactly the song I wanted to hear. And then, of course, YouTube music took it from there. And on my way back home, I said, yep, you need another injection of it. I grew up in the Baptist church. I grew up singing in the choir, and gospel music, as does all music, speaks to me. That's why I have a song of the day. If you allow music to minister to you and heal you, it can be so healing, so healing. Today's message, my loves, is saying what needs to be said, leaving nothing left unsaid. When you see something beautiful in someone, say it. You just don't know the impact that it has on them. And as I was writing tomorrow's email, and I'm going to tell you right now, excuse me if I cry, because I'm going to talk about my daddy. And Monique is a daddy's girl. I was the only girl. 2 boys, one older, one younger. And oh my God, I was just the apple of my daddy's eye. It was nothing that I asked for that he didn't give me. He spoiled me rotten. He spoiled me rotten. He was my biggest supporter, my loudest cheerleader. His unconditional love for me is instilled in me. There was nothing I could do that would change that. And as I reflected on things left unsaid, and I'm going to take off a little bit, because I talked to my mom. I said, Mom, when I was in the classroom, sometimes something was stirring me and it would say, you need to say this. And my kids, knew before we started class, we were going to reflect, and we were going to set the tone for the day, and I was going to have some life lesson for them. And I never knew why something was set in my heart to say it. But I always said, somebody in here needs to hear it. So I'm going to say it, because it's on my heart to say. So I said that to say that I was writing this email, and something was on me, and it said, you got to say this. And so my dad died in 2015. He had prostate cancer. He developed esophageal cancer. His kidney shut down. He'd beat lung cancer a year and a half prior to that. And when we made the decision to take the respirator off of him, maybe he lived for about 24 hours. And my aunts and I, we sat in the room, and I guess it's what's called awake, right? Because we sat there all day. We just watched my dad. And we told stories about him. Them telling stories about, of course, him being the big brother, and me telling stories about him being the best dad. And at some point that night, my aunt said, well, we waited for my ex-husband at that time and my son to fly in. And Daddy was able to open his eyes. And after that, he didn't anymore. I felt like he had waited to see all of his grandkids and his kids prior to him letting go. And my aunt told me that when her mother was dying, she whispered in her ear, Mom, you can go. Like she felt like her mom was holding on for them. And she said, Mom, you can go. And she said not long after that, her mom died. So at some point, through all of the tears and the laughter and the storytelling, I hugged my daddy for the last time. And I said, Daddy, you did a good job. We're going to be all right. You can go. He didn't pass away till the next morning. But I share that story because prior to my dad taking really, really sick, we'd had this beautiful conversation on the phone. And we'd always planned to go to the Kentucky Derby together. And we talked about that, and we talked about life, and we talked about my brothers, and we talked about life situations and things that had to happen. And I knew in my heart when I had that conversation that I was saying goodbye to my daddy. That was the last time he was strong enough to have a strong conversation with me. But I knew that conversation was it for a lucid conversation with the man I knew to be my dad. And I said everything I needed to say, and he said everything he needed to say. And I say that to you because I'm at peace about my dad. I miss him. I miss him calling me on Saturdays and saying, hey, baby girl. Hey, my baby girl. But one time when I was in the high school classroom, I told my class about my dad, and I started to cry. And one of my students asked me how old my dad was when he died. And I think he was 68. And the kid responded, your dad led a good life. And I immediately stopped crying. I said, you're right. And from that point on, the sadness definitely dissipated. You say to yourself, Dr. El-Amin, why are you on this message crying about your last words to your father? Because the message of the day is leave nothing left unsaid. The practice and the virtue of appreciation today is I freely and openly express appreciation and gratitude. Some of us struggle with that. Some of us struggle with expressing and receiving appreciation and gratitude. But I always say, no matter how many days you live, life is too short. Don't live with regrets. Say what needs to be said. One more thing. I was in my office today and I was reading a poem, Desiderata. And it starts with go placidly into the world. And it talks about, peace. And it talks about, it's a beautiful poem about life. If you haven't read Desiderata, definitely check that out. But it talked about avoid loud and aggressive persons, for they are vexations to the spirit. And in that moment, I was convicted. Loud and aggressive vexations to people's spirit. And by convicted, I mean I know that I have to be mindful and conscious of that. That's all I got, guys. I was deeply reflective. It was emotional. And for whoever it was to hear it, I hope it blesses you and gives you peace. Take care of yourself by being kind to yourself. Take care of your loved ones by being kind to them as well. And don't forget to give the world the beauty and the warmth of your smile. You look better that way. You feel better that way. And everybody around you feel better too. I'm going to walk a little bit further and I'm going to turn around and go back home and ice this knee and read. Take care.